Don't you just love it when you set your printer to print something and you come back and it's done this? Yeah, me too. Sometimes it makes me want to do this. Or this. Why? Or this. Guys, I know how frustrating this can be. I printed over 110 of these phone cases for an internship I recently had, and not all have turned out the greatest. But in doing so, I've learned a thing or two on how to get a print to stick. So let's fix this. Our first tip on how to get a print to stick is to clean the plate and the surface. So you can use, to clean it, you can use just plain old water and soap, or you can also use alcohol or acetone. I feel like, well, alcohol is my favorite. I feel like it cleans the printing surface really well. So just make sure when you do clean it, you get all the junk off. Okay guys, our tip number 2 on how to get a print to stick is by adjusting the first layer height. I use a program called Slicer. This is evidently Slicer. So to adjust the first print layer, you go over to Print Settings, and then you go to Layer Height. Now normally this is the default's 0.2, and to adjust that you just type in there and then you enter the layer height that you want. Now you don't want to use a layer height that's taller than your nozzle is wide. I have a 0.6 nozzle, so I'm going to use a 0.5 layer height. Now for whatever reason, I don't know, but this helps to get the print to stick. Alright, if those first couple tips didn't work out, don't curl up in the fetal position and cry quite yet. Yeah, like that. Don't do that just yet. We have a couple more things we can try to get our prints to stick. Alright, since we've established that bed cleanliness and the first layer height are not the problem, then our z-axis, also known as the up and down axis in scientific terms, may be the problem. If your z-axis is too high, your poor print doesn't stand a chance of adhering to the plate. Now on the other hand, if the print is too low, you'll end up scratching the printer surface bed like me. Here, I'll show you. Alright, can you guys see that okay? Yeah, if you see here, I was printing some rings, a lot of rings, and I had my printer's z-axis set too low. And as you can see here, you can see where the nozzle scratched my printer bed. And this one right here was when I was printing a prosthetic hand for a friend of mine. Anyway, this is not what you want. So I'm going to show you how to adjust the z-axis so this doesn't happen. Since not everybody's printer is the same, I'm not going to show you exactly how to adjust the z-axis on my printer. I can in a later video if you want me to, but for now I'm just going to teach you a couple principles that will help you find the correct height for your z-axis. So when you print, make sure you pay attention to that when you're adjusting your z-axis. Make sure you look at the bead that your printer is laying down. If it looks like this, I'll show you in a second. If it looks like this, or if it looks something like this, you know it's either too high or too low. You want the bead to end up looking somewhat like a half circle, somewhat like this. So again, when you're adjusting your z-axis, make sure it's not like this. The bead of plastic doesn't look like this or this, but it looks something like this. And if it looks something like this, then you'll have good adhesion. This is better than this, so if you can't get it to look like this, this is better than this. But Jorgen, my micrometers aren't the greatest. What do I do? I'm glad you asked. So if you can't tell if your bead of plastic looks like this, or this, what you can do is you can slide the paper between the bed and the nozzle, and if there's just like a very slight tug against the paper, then you know your nozzle's about in the right place. We're going to move on to our next tip now. Alright, our next tip on how to get a print to stick is using adhesives. So what I like to do is use hairspray. What you do is you just give it a little spray beforehand, and it seems to work well. Now this is the brand I use. It doesn't have to be the limited edition, it can just be the normal stuff. Works just as fine. It's 5-hold. Works great. Something else people like to use is glue stick. I don't really like this. It makes a big mess and you have to clean it up every 1 or 2 prints. Something else people like to use, I haven't personally used, is painter's tape. I'd assume it gives you a textured finish because the tape itself is textured. And if those don't work, you can also buy a textured plate. I'll give you a close-up. Prusa, to print their parts, they use textured plates. And so I'll give you a close-up of what that ends up looking like. Alright, here's that close-up. So it doesn't give it a smooth finish, but it gives it a textured finish. If your prints still aren't sticking after all those tips, I got a couple more. Alright guys, this next tip is to pray. Let me read you a scripture. If there are any of you lacking wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So, we're lacking wisdom. Like, if we've tried all these things, and we still can't figure out how to get this stinking print to stick. So, let's turn to the man who knows everything and ask him. God, Heavenly Father, how do we fix this print? How do we make it stick? And I know if we do that after having tried all these different things, God is going to give us an answer. Because I mean, I don't have anything else to tell you except for tip 7, which is buy a new printer. Like, I don't know what else to do. If you can't get your prints to stick, like, I wouldn't want to be dealing with that problem, so I'd probably just buy a new printer. Alright, I hope the video was helpful. I'm planning on doing many more videos like this on how to fix common printer issues. Now, please let me know what problems you guys are having. Post a comment. Like, I really do want to know. I want to create relevant videos for you guys. I don't want to be fixing problems over here when you're experiencing is this thing over here. So, please, post a comment and let me know. I want to be able to solve all these problems that you guys are experiencing. I'll do my best to, but I might not be able to solve everything, so if I can't, then I'll find somebody who can. So please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Really want it to stick.